Okay. Oops, I should close that. We're doing a bug scrub for like the next, I don't know, hour or so, and then I'm gonna just be working through various tickets for WordPress 5.6. So we have beta 1 scheduled for tomorrow. I need to turn on my moderator view of my dashboard. I don't even know like which thing is better to use in like the Twitch view. How do I see what's going on here? I cannot see a stream preview. I guess that's for the best. Okay. How do I see like who's in chat? Users in chat. Okay. I don't like that. I'm gonna use the mod viewer. Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to understand how I can see who's in here. Okay. Let's join Scrub. And hopefully I've fixed my dropped frames thing. I scaled this down, so hopefully it won't stutter so much. Plugin and theme auto update should be with Corner 5.5. I think it's worth considering adding some more hooks around the plugin and theme process to perhaps run prior to and after a particular update is run. We want to punt this. Oh, I see. Okay, this, I mean, it needs a patch in order to move forward, so. Needs patch. Add that. Do I know what needs to be tested here? I feel like I've looked at this ticket like 17 times. Ah, hi. Hi, David. Yeah, I have something in mind for the auto updater, like a potential plugin. So maybe I'll run into that same quality of life problem if I actually go try building it. But yeah, I'm just don't have enough people to focus on that stuff at the moment, I guess. Dual pings is I have legitimately looked at this like 17 times and it wasn't patched until a week ago. Why haven't, I feel like maybe he brought it up in a dev chat or something. Oh my gosh. Let me see what this means. Do action perform pings? Perform ping max. Perform all enclosure. I don't like these. Where is that coming from? Is it? You hear I'm looking at the patch. Who's at my door? Whose car is that? I don't know. Gosh, I feel like we should just punt it, to be honest. Here, oh, you're in a triage Zoom. Wow. Wow. You are a better human than me. I can barely pay attention to myself and my screen at the same time. Trackbacks, etc. Okay. We can update it. We can update the patch. I just don't know if we should be doing 5.6 for it. I guess it's not like a big deal. Let's be my father-in-law. Whose car is that? Hello. Yes, I am a WordPress developer. I am, I guess I should introduce myself periodically. That's something I have to get used to in streaming, is that like random people jump in and out. So yeah, I am, my job specifically is I am the director of open source initiatives at a company called 10up. We're fully distributed. We do a lot of WordPress centric developmental that's sort of generally like client services, web consulting. Specifically in my job, one of my roles is as one of the lead developers for WordPress itself. I don't know, you have different roles, right? It's an open source project. So there are currently 5 of us who are named lead developers for WordPress. It's not the highest signal of what anybody is doing at any given time. What I am doing specifically right at this moment and for the next couple months is I am specifically the technical lead for this current release cycle. We're working on the WordPress 5.6 release. We have beta 1 due tomorrow, and the release itself is meant to go out early December. So as a technical lead for it, I just kind of, commit stuff. That's one of my roles in that regard, but a lot of it is just, do I think that this is technically ready? Are we going to end up making a decision that backs us into a corner? That's a big thing that I like to think about. And yeah, just making sure that I know what's going on sort of broadly. So yeah, leaning toward a punt. Okay, so I'll let somebody refresh that and see if they want to commit it. Include version updated from, yes, I want this. Does it need more testing? I don't know how to test it. That's something that I would like to see more of. It's like specific testing instructions, especially when it's something deep in internals like this. Yeah, so you would have to make a plugin update and check the email. When you're running this locally, then you're going to have to set up something to send your emails locally. Like you could use like SMTP, or you could use one of those catchers where you can just view the emails in WordPress instead of like actually having it sent through PHP. Mailtrap, yeah, those things. I never remember the names. Those things that catch emails and you can view them. But like, how do I make it update like in that moment? You know, those are things that like you can figure out how to do. But it would be nice if on the ticket it said, to trigger this, do blah, blah, blah. Like change the version in a plugin and then, you know, make the auto update fire and then check the email here, you know, like we need very specific. So I went and I asked for like team feedback from my coworkers on this patch. It's kind of like deep in internals a little bit. Not deep, but like, you know, maybe like a level or two below what. Oh, cool. I'm gonna leave this open. Maybe I'll become one of those people who uses it and then I'll break it and I'm sorry. But yeah, I think we probably just have to commit this thing and yeah, I don't know. Because this is in uploads on multi-site, I think specifically, let me see, I don't think this actually fully describes the problem very well. This ticket. Well, maybe it does, because Mo is great. But in a multi-site install, when trying to determine whether a site has exceeded its storage quota. So in multi-site WordPress, you can set like a storage quota per site. WordPress will scan through a blog's upload directory and sum up the file sizes by running file size against each one. Sounds awesome. It's not awesome. For a large number of files, this can significantly slow down the upload process or certain portions of the dashboard. Get dir size has transient caching in place, but this is a single cache entry for all folders. So it'd be better if we had a separate cache entry for each folder and invalidated it based on context so that get dir size does not need to be run constantly on older unchanged directories as frequently, right? Because uploads in many setups go into like year, date, year, month folders, and so you don't need to recalculate them because you're not uploading to old ones. I don't know what happens when you do like regenerating thumbnails or stuff. Okay, so Sergey says he's going to take a look at WP normalized path and getting rid of directory separator and test on Windows. This is something that Sergey has historically been saving our butts on. Is offload plugins. We want that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I do stuff that does like offload. So maybe that's somewhere where I could ask. Is like we maintain an Azure storage plugin, so maybe we should check on that. Maybe comments list table should not show views that have a count of 0. I think this was the one where I there was a design discussion, 0 count views should be hidden. I disagree with that for comments specifically. And the code is a lot. This is a big patch. I can open it on stream, but this patch is like, it's a huge patch for like hiding something that I actually think is useful information. Specifically, I agree that seeing potential states is important. Yeah. Thanks for following. Okay, somebody had already left my comments. Somewhere on here. Per me. Okay, so I'm punching this from 5.6. I would actually recommend closing. There are two main reasons for this. The code required to make this work, I think it, let me read the code, the patch again. Yeah, it's because of the way like the so comments you can like approve and disapprove, and there's like keyboard shortcuts that I think only power users or even like long time power users of WordPress are even aware exist on that screen. And so this is really nasty stuff. I don't like that. Look at that. You have to look for in the wrap, not hidden, find the separator and hide the separator. I mean, this is just like, it's freaking ridiculous, you know, like all this stuff. I hate it. Look at that. .index PHP ID latest comments sub li.hidden. I mean, it's complete nonsense. And then, gosh, what is this for? Like, why is this being changed? What is going on here? Yeah, jQuery Gore for sure. But it's jQuery Gore because it's just such a, like, it's old and it's wacky. And like the more we add to this, I think the deeper, this is technical debt, right? Like this is like the definition of technical debt, is like adding this kind of garbage for something that I don't think is actually usably better. It's ugly to, it's going to be very unpleasant to maintain into the future. I don't agree that there's somebody else in my house. I hear a voice I don't recognize. Sorry. I thought that... I'm super confused. Sorry, hang on. My husband said that he had something this afternoon, but as far as I knew, he was leaving the house and not doing it here. He's a musician, so it's like distanced rehearsals. I don't know. I don't agree that this is usably better. Comments specifically. I can buy that consistency is good for many others. Zero count review filters, good for comments. The entire model is pretty different when you have interactions with keyboard shortcuts and mass moderation, etc. So this is that knowing what states are even possible is actually important here. Combination of those 2 points and how we're looking at data 1 tomorrow. Because the state put in a one independent closure for me. Smiley. It is unpleasant to look at. Yeah, this would be very unpleasant to use in the future. I don't agree this is usably better for comments specifically. I'll reread. The consistency is good. The term model is pretty different. You have to keyword choice. This is a no feature possible section important here. Okay, I am putting this back into awaiting review, and I'm gonna ask for a second opinion because I don't like it. Oops, make sure. Expose embed core block. They've been refactored to be a single block with many block variations. They should be exposed on the server. Okay, Riyadh put it in there. They should just commit it. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Somebody can commit it. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see what's the latest. What is this other thing? CSS audit. Oh no. Let me see here. This says try. Oh my goodness. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, this is just current header video. No YOLOing. No YOLOing this. I regret adding that emoticon to WordPress Slack. If you see a silly emoticon in WordPress Slack, it is probably my fault. There's YOLO. I think there's a Friday one. I think there's a Boon one. This is all my fault. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been trying to like follow along with those meetings again, but I think they're at a time where I'm always doing something else. So. Oh, a friend is here. A bubble friend. Let's see, discoverability of plugin and themes, auto updates. What is this? What is this? What is this? Okay, let's go all the way down. Let's see. A switch instead of checkbox. I thought that we had. I don't see that this is. I don't know how to feel about that. Will update in 2 days. What does that mean? Do we do that? Oh goodness. We just have such different views here. Yeah. Okay. I commented 6 weeks ago. This tells you how on top of my own brain I am. I don't remember leaving this comment at all. Somebody take a moment to add current screenshots. Okay, well, good, because I would not have remembered this. Enable auto updates. So this is what it currently does. Sleep tracking, please. Please tell me this was at a decent hour. Yeah, 3:46:36. I assume that's UTC, so that would be like 9:45 for me. No, I was not sleeping at 9:45 in the morning. I wake up at like 6 in the morning. Fix and improve. It was already committed. Oh no. Oh no, who's messaging me? With threads. Oh, I see. I don't know. Look at that a little later. What's the issue? My stuff's like not even. Yeah, let me switch back to. What was 55:30? Oh, okay, great. That's good because I already put it in. Exchange here, I need to open. Okay. And I think I assume I need to build here. And now my computer sounds like it's taken off. Yeah, we should convert this to a task. So we use task in WordPress track, our bug tracker, to mean like this is a thing that we have to do, and it's not really bound by the usual, like what you would think of as the rules around when feature requests and enhancements can make it in. So when we have a task, it's saying like this is a thing we have committed to doing as a project for this release, and we have to do it. Okay. How long? Oh no, this is not running. Okay, well, let's let it finish building. Then I have to start the environment. Okay, running watch task. And run and start, right? Okay, localhost. So I can no longer. Yeah, that's like super not clear to me. So now I can move stuff around. But if screen options is closed, like I assume this is a bug. But now I can't. So like, why? I don't understand this. What's the reasoning for this change? I think it's fine. It's 49151. Okay, I have to leave that open. I have to leave the comics. I don't understand what's going on. Show warning for plugins that have not. I don't understand this one. What time am I'm having a hard time parsing this ticket. So last theme release. Oh, I see a comment from. Hello, hello. What is up? Where are you coming from? Yeah, because I only see it for themes. I'm going to suggest ending the exact date. Friends or something like that. One. You just need to reload this. Oh my goodness, okay. Not for themes, for Okay, so one just visual or doesn't text. Anyway, so we're adding this to site health. I should probably talk more out loud. I'm sitting here just working through stuff in my head. So we have this thing called site health, and it says like should be improved. Here are my critical issues. Ooh. Oh, yeah, of course I can't do that. Loop back. Yeah, see? Your site cannot complete a loop back request. Of course, I cannot do that. I should remove inactive plugins, should remove inactive themes. So I guess we're gonna put it under info. Ooh, okay. So it's like loading a bunch over there. So they're gonna put it under okay. Hi. Thanks for subscribing. My goal is to, like, whenever I hit the payout threshold for Twitch, then I'll be public about it and donate at least half of it. It'll probably end up being about half because honestly, mostly just because of taxes, and I don't know what the tax impact is going to be. So I'll start by donating half of whatever comes in and then take it from there, see what happens. Yeah, let's take it in some good hands. I can be really, really picky about this kind of microcopy, so we'll see. I'll leave this open. Oh no. We don't have an oh no. I'm streaming the meeting. Oh, you have one to give. That's awesome. Thanks. Thanks for using it on me. Like I said, my intention is to donate it. Most of the proceeds. If I keep anything, it's really just to like maybe fund like, or maybe pay myself back for some equipment that I've got here for streaming because it's not like paid for by my job, but you know, I'm just streaming my job, so it kind of feels weird to like double dip like that. Or maybe it'll fund like keyboard purchases and I'll just become more and more of a mechanical keyboard person. Okay, is this all the keycaps? Anthony, I should not. I don't want to confess like what my what my mechanical keyboard purchases look like. I actually keep it in a spreadsheet, and it is shameful how much stuff I have bought. But you know what? It's a reasonable hobby to have. Hello. I don't know who you are based on your screen name though. I'm sorry. I'm not always great with handles. But hi. Have a good meeting. I don't know what this person is doing. Like why? No. So when I streamed on Friday, I tested the block widgets thing for the first time, and like I was thinking about it this morning, like do I feel bad about having waited until so late to have tested it? But I don't think that I feel bad because I think would this not be merged with the rest of the Gutenberg updates? It's, I don't know. From a technical perspective, like how that works, since they like already released it in Gutenberg, and I don't know what kind of feedback they're getting in Gutenberg. My feedback is that I don't know, maybe in a vacuum it like improves that screen somewhat, and it takes us along the road to like people understanding that blocks are just content that you can like put in various places. Unfiltered. So yeah, in a vacuum, it's like it's okay. The problem is not like the blocks necessarily. There are like a couple of bugs that I think just need to be solved before actual release. Maybe they're beta okay, but the problem is the feature does not exist in a vacuum, and so we're improving a screen that, frankly, sucks. Yeah, it's been on in Gutenberg for a while. I don't know. Like, I would need to hear from them how that's going. To me, like it is in Gutenberg, but it's a little like this is a significant enough change that I feel like where is the proposal about it, right? Like what is the justification? Are they actually hearing that this is better? Because frankly, this experience sucks in comparison to the customizer. And so yeah, if the customizer didn't exist, maybe it would be fine, because like we would just be evaluating it the way that it is, but it does not exist in a vacuum. It exists in a world where the customizer widgets interface also exists and is like way superior to this. So I don't know. I think we're gonna have a bad time. Let's see. We're choosing API version for the block shape. Okay, I think. Yeah, this one's got people looking at it. Look at our beautiful checks, but what is going on with these failures? I heard that all external HTTP tests have been failing. Yeah. I wonder if something got blocked somewhere. Okay. Yeah. Good luck, Jonathan. Yeah, I'm sure there are lots of bug reports, especially because, like, as we saw, I was very good at breaking it. I broke it in under a minute. But I don't know. Some of the things that are wrong with it are like solvable things. I think the biggest problem here is that we're kind of fighting against a separate interface that is not compatible with anything that you add as blocks. It's like not actually compatible or fully compatible, and is the better interface for actually managing this stuff right now. And then on top of that, it's like, if we don't ship this, have there been any significant block editor changes this year? I think people are feeling that pressure. So, okay. So what is remaining here? I don't even know. Okay. Okay, so tiny design things. One good thing is like with copy, we can just futz with the copy potentially forever. But yeah, I don't know. This is going to end up making it in. Like, I don't think that we have any serious problems because, like, you can already run core auto updates. This is adding UI for it. This is mostly UI decisions, and a lot of those, you know, can change in beta. Whether we think that's a good idea or not, I don't know. But, you know, yeah, make that into a task. We'll be fine. Type task. You see it says task blessed. Hashtag blessed. Okay. I don't know what's going on with this one. I feel very conflicted. Okay, I have Slack open separately so I can. Yeah, I bet like almost nobody's looking at that because like the separate widget screen just like sucks. So, okay, to discuss this later. With a pathetic block style interface. A lot of people could use some classes and constructive feedback, but sure. Yes, the most reasonable opinions. I mean, I don't think the block style interface is pathetic, but I understand the sentiment because like imagine if I were not a developer, not a technical user who was doing that stuff that I was doing on Friday. You can like rewatch the stream, except like I start cussing a lot, which I feel kind of bad about because I had meant for this to be like more family friendly and then we could like reference it and like you know, more central channels for WordPress development. But that particular stream I just got so frustrated and was just like, lots of bad language. But anyway, I just feel like I would be so frustrated if I didn't know how to like fix it or reset what I'm doing, you know? And if it was like my live site, my God, I'd be so mad about it. So yeah, I understand the sentiment at least. Although I'm an adult, so I've learned to communicate somewhat better. But so this latest copy is in there. Okay, yeah, we just need a refresh patch on that thing, and then we can get it in. I just don't know what to do. Next steps. 5907. 3 minutes left. Yeah. I don't know. Next. Okay, I'll send that in a minute. So many emails. So this thing, I'll let them work through a new patch for that, I guess, but I have to think about this. Last theme release 2 months ago. The reason why you lose fidelity the further back you go, right? Like if it's like last theme release last release 8 years ago, you know, even though like, yeah, 8 years ago, at that point you're like, yeah, that's pretty old. Nobody's really maintaining it, but like, I think you should still have the specific data about like when it was last released. Okay. Yeah, the 2020 content was like super specific. I wish I had noticed that at the time, but I didn't. It made it really confusing. Yeah, I can hold that. Okay. Yeah. I forgot I like ran my hair through a curler today when I was trying it, and I'm like touching my hair. It's either gonna go poof or it's gonna flatten completely. We'll see. Things people on stream, I'm sure, care about deeply. I don't know what that means. 51445. Add theme support for navigation widgets. Oh gosh. H2, and it wraps it in a nav. Yeah, that's why I saved my comment. So let me see this. Navigation widgets. So sometimes I don't really understand like why things are theme support. It's like it just becomes like an infinite list of new things. I don't know. What needs to be done here? Assurance of the disrupting. Yeah, I understand. Like, it's hard to change it in core completely because like sometimes people use selectors like direct children and that kind of stuff, so you end up messing it up because if you have like if you were like directly selecting the UL inside widget content, then it would stop working because now it has now it has a nav element wrapping it, so it can break styling, which is why like we tend to have it be like a theme opt-in so that the theme can say like I'm ready for it. So it's not really time. But I need a declaration from bundle themes maintainers that this A doesn't break anything in themes, and B, that this is okay to keep on their radar as they prep the bundle of themes for 5.6 release. So I'm not going to put for the release process. Needs testing. There's a dev note scrub. Is that happening in here? I don't know. I don't want to sneeze. Wow, these are hard to read. Cool. Is that what I want to know? Is like, is it happening in here? Because like I feel bad when I interrupt meetings with like commits and stuff. Like there's who's jQuery? I think it was jQuery. jQuery used to have like a separate meetings channel. Oh no, in core. Cool. Dev note. That's cool. I just didn't realize that it was, I see. Okay. Oh, I mean, I wouldn't worry about like individual commits, Anthony. It's just like when I start like on a stream of commits, then I feel really bad. Because it's kind of like disrupting meetings. Where? This is the problem with like using threads and stuff. It's like when people are like, I added my 2 cents, it's like, I don't know where you're typing, like in a thread, on the ticket, like everything should be on the freaking ticket. Okay, that's cool. I hope it doesn't affect the appearance. I just like the default themes at least, but. Don't know what any of this means. I don't know what Mary's talking about half the time. I feel kind of bad about that. But okay, whatever. Oh boy. Let me see what they're working on here. Ugh, this goes into the wrong window. No stuttering today on the stream. At least it has not warned me about anything. I dropped the bitrate in frames per second. Formalize the send to channel etiquette. Yeah, so I was talking to Joseph about this the other day, and I think we're gonna formalize saying like only use threads if it's essentially like a gentle correction for the message. I think otherwise we should just not use threads. Because like I don't think that anybody's reading the chat, like seeing something and being like, oh, let me click into this thread and see what happened later, and like people frequently split out of threads and stuff. I think the correct thing for us to do is actually to just, when you're replying to something, you should actually just link the message or use the like share functionality, right? So like you hit share message and you put core and then you add your message, right? And then you share it. So it looks like a reply in the chat. So it gives the context to jump back to, but it doesn't end up encouraging like this hidden conversation where, yeah, exactly. Like, how do I contribute to a thread and all that stuff? And like, what we really should be using it for is like when somebody just needs like a gentle correction, like, hey, there's a meeting going on right now. Try again later, or hey, remember this is supposed to be family friendly, so like watch your language or whatever. Like those things happen every once in a while. So I think that's where that belongs, because you want it to be known that somebody has addressed it, so that person doesn't get like 17 DMs from people saying the same thing, and so that it's known like, yeah, hey, this is the precedent we want to set. But that should be it. You don't want like a public flogging by sending it to the channel. It's just a quiet, hey, if you were like in person, right? This is something I think about a lot too, is like, what would your in-person equivalent to this be? And this would be the equivalent of like nudging somebody, right? And being like, hey, by the way, like watch out, watch yourself. So otherwise, like in real human talk, like the comparison would be like if you were in a meeting, right? Like in a room, and everybody was whispering to each other in like smaller groups and like wandering around whispering to each other. Like that would be like, can you imagine running a meeting that way, right? And so we just, like, if you think about the like real life analog to this stuff, which is not to say that like every single digital interaction has to have a real life analog, but like in this context, in the meeting context, it's just like, would you go around doing that? Like, no, you wouldn't. You would be so mad if somebody was just like off whispering to everybody in the middle of meetings, right? Or is like too busy looking down texting in the middle of a meeting. That's how I feel about a lot of this stuff. Oh my jeez. Yeah, so technical assistance I think would be something else. If it's really like, I think this is too philosophical to really make it into a guideline. But I think what it is like, yeah, is this group information or is this something that you're really just having an individual conversation about, right? So yeah. In the core example, especially in meetings and especially when we're making decisions, these are things that have to be done in the open, in the public eye. They cannot be just like one-on-one conversations. And this ends up becoming a one-on-one conversation because like, the only people who see it are the people who are participating in the thread at the time. Nobody back scrolls to see threads. And I don't know if there's a place to, like, can you search for everything that has a thread on it? Probably, I guess. It's like everything in core that has a thread attached to it, but like nobody's doing that. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm just saying like it's a lot for me to follow. So they can commit kind of whatever, and if I have issues with it, then I will give more feedback later. We can change copy in beta, but we need to get the thing itself in before beta, I think. Okay, so what they're talking about right now, the main chat is talking about dev notes, which is our latest like guides for developers on like what are these major developer changes that are coming in the next release, what is it that you need to know about it and what to do about it. So yeah, so that's what they're kind of scrubbing through, like what are some things that need these notes. And then I have something, I'm just going to talk it through out loud on stream, I guess, but I am unhappy currently with the information architecture of the Make site. And the reason why is not because, wow, I never even noticed this. It's not because like people are posting things that are not good. That is not true. The thing is that this Make core, this is our development blog, but it contains everything. It has status updates, it has these dev notes, it has meeting notes, meeting agendas, you know, all this kind of stuff, and it's all just chronological, right? And you know, we end up doing things like we pin stuff to the top, but then that like pushes everything down the screen. And like earlier I was looking for something and just like couldn't find it. It was a call for testing, right? And it's like, gosh, you know, like is the CSS chat summary more critical than me being able to find like things that are currently being requested for testing? And no, it's not. So I think what I'm thinking about is maybe we need some tags, some like standard tags, which are almost equivalent to like track workflow keywords, where we have like needs testing, needs feedback, you know, take some combination of the tags that we have so that we can show, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it should be in the sidebar, if it should be at the top, like in a grid of stuff or something, right? Not the full text of the item, but you know, what's next. And even this, like this bug scrub schedule, like we should really just have like next upcoming meeting, you know? Lots of stuff that we could think about, but we could have a grid of stuff that's like, you know, here are the latest dev notes, right? Because like, let's say you're a non-core developer, but you're somebody who's trying to follow along so you know how to update your plugins or whatever. And like, how do you find that stuff? Like you have to wait until there's a field guide later, or you have to know to look for that tag. Whereas like we should have a thing, you know, so what would be a widget, right? So wherever it's displayed, I guess it's where it blocks. Yeah, so we have like all the meetings, but like, let's say we're just concerned about, good Christ. You know, like, how do I know, like, what I want to go to, you know? Like, what day is today? Okay, here, it's highlighted. Yeah, look at this. And not only that, this said bug scrub, but it doesn't say anything about the dev note scrub. So, you know, it's not perfect either. So, like, I have to know to go here. And I can see list, but the list just shows me everything. Yeah, I know what all of this stuff is, and it's super freaking overwhelming. And this list view, it starts on October 1st. Like, what is the point? Right? Like, jump me to this. Make the default view the week. Frankly, we should have a week view so it's easier to drill down to what you're looking for, and so we can make this longer so you can see everything all at once. Right, the list view should just show you today and what's next. Anyway, I forever have, you know, and this even says upcoming WordPress meetings. This is not upcoming, okay? Yeah, like I should, like in the core context, like, yeah, it was just added, but like we can continue to make it better, right? Like I'm not saying that we did bad. I'm saying that we can do better. So, we have things here like, what's the latest dev notes? What are things that we currently need feedback on? That's a big thing. What do we need what do we need for feedback? Here are the latest updates from components, and like we are working on a singular weekly component update thing, so put that there, the call for the updates, and then latest meeting notes or something. I don't know, like maybe we don't even need those. Maybe that should just be on the sidebar, and then this just needs dev notes, upcoming meeting, and things that we are specifically requesting feedback on, right? Yeah. What do I actually need to be involved on? That's the thing with this blog. It's like it's a stream of stuff, and there's no differentiating between what is purely informational and what is seeking feedback. And so if you're sort of like more of a casual participant, it's a little like, what do I need to read? It falls off really quickly. I mean, look at this. Look how freaking long this page is. And then you get to the bottom of the page, and it's like, okay, yeah, this was all the way back on the 9th. But like I have like no sense of like, okay, here's the 13th. All this stuff. Component meeting summary. And it's like, does this need feedback? No. So like all this stuff, dev chat summary, widget screen test scrub, chat agenda. Yeah, I gotta search. And search is here, but only on desktop. It is not there on the phone. I frequently end up checking this on my phone, and there's like I have to like type it, I think, into the URL, or at least the last time I tried. You should be able to click these. But yeah, it feels like maybe like these things should be like, we need a tag cloud, I guess, in the sidebar. It just feels like we need more of that stuff. And then none of this is accessible on the phone. Let me see. Or maybe if I just resize my window. It's like if I make my window like this, it's like, where the hell do I see that stuff? Scroll all the way down, it's not there. Like the sidebar just straight up disappears. I have to open this menu, and then it's like forever freaking long. Hit tickets, components, handbook, and there's like email updates. Like, do I need that when I'm on my phone? Recent updates. Like, nothing in here is actually like, I'm on my phone and I need to get to something quickly. And it feels like I don't need to optimize the narrow screen view for casual visitors. Like that's just it's not important. Like if I'm on my phone looking at the make blog, I'm probably somebody who like really needs to get a thing done in that moment. So anyway, I could complain all day about everything. Look at this icon. Busted. So yeah, I think that's something that I'll probably harp on more later. I'm just talking it out right now, kind of taking a breather before diving back into commits. But usually there's like a pause in work between the release in December and then like getting back rolling into things at some point in January. Usually just like kind of a pause as everybody goes on holiday and recovers from release cycles and the push and whatever. So frequently during that time period is when I will work on what, like if WordPress were a company, you would like classify as an internal project, right? And I do that at 10 up too. Is like that December break period is frequently when I'll work on stuff like our chat bot, our Slack bot, that kind of stuff, because I'm actually the maintainer for that stuff internally as well as all the weird things I do externally. So geez, this thing, I don't know how I feel about this. So yeah, so probably during that time period I'm going to start take a retrospective from the 5.6 release cycle and turn that into some action items for the make site. Because yeah, like we added this welcome box, and that's great for a lot of things, but it's kind of like once you're past needing the welcome box, I don't like that it still takes up space here. But once you're past needing that, like, what's the welcome box for returning people, basically, right? So there's the welcome box for new people, and there's the welcome box for people coming back. So which is it? I think it's kind of what it is. So. Welcome back box. Yeah, right? Like, hey, you're coming back. Here's what's new. I mean, we can't go all the way to like, here's what's unread for you. I don't think, without like a lot more work. But at the very least, like, hey, here are the things that we would like for you to test if you're coming back to this blog. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with like half these dev notes. We ran a lot of them, and it's really good, but at the same time, again, it just becomes really overwhelming. Like, what's something that I actually want to look at? Sure, toss it in your miscellaneous bucket. Be like, why is it a month view? Why can't this be a list view? Somebody opened me a meta track ticket. List view should start with today's date. Add a week view. I agree, we have too many dev notes. I think that the volume of information has now become considered harmful. There's too much going out, and people are getting overwhelmed by it. And so there's like, how do you balance early proactive communication with like, you know, here's your one-stop shop to read everything that could potentially impact you. So I don't know. I don't know how to balance those things, but I think we've swung too far in the direction of like telling people stuff and now nobody's reading anything. And I have to be like, why don't we post on Reddit about it so people actually look at it? Seems dumb. Add folder to function. I don't know. People can write their own dev notes. Okay. Mention the miscellaneous dev. Okay. So it says, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so yes, they do live on reference pages, and the @sense, like when we add stuff, let me see. Oh no. Oh yeah, @sense introduced email exists filter. So like you do have like a short description here, but what I think probably the more correct thing to do here, I mean, yeah, like I do think these examples should live on the reference pages, and then what we really need maybe is like a roll-up post. Maybe the highest, maybe the best way to, I don't know, I don't want to say the best way, maybe you can get the most value out of putting examples and rationale on the developer reference pages, and then having one roll-up post of all added. I mean, you don't even need a roll-up post. Well, let me see. See, there is everything in the new release. Let me see. Wait, can I? Oh, new and updated. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have the field guide, but all added, modified hooks. Like, well, initially we found. Yeah, so like you get this. This is generated. Oh, my chair's slow. Sorry. So this is generated. This is 5.5 introduced. But like, I think that we should be putting all those notes here. Much less temporal. Am I using that correctly? This is what I do sometimes. No, it's not really the word I'm looking for. Much less. What is the word for like something that's in the moment? It's not temporary. Hello. Momentum. I don't know. I decided to flip the way that I was phrasing the sentence. So it's more like we're talking about stuff that's permanent reference, but it's getting lost in all the chronological noise of make core. Yeah, ephemeral. Yeah. Not that like the dev notes themselves are necessarily ephemeral, but they're frequently about like changes you need to make because this thing is happening, right? Or like here's a heads up that this thing is happening. You might want to make changes or you might need to adjust. But stuff like these hooks, this is permanent, you know, like permanent reference material. It is not. Yeah, ephemeral, temporary, whatever it's called. But yeah, I don't like the problem is that this gets generated and built after the fact. So like how I just. I don't know how to transfer information in an automated way, at least. Yeah, like what if there's a trunk code reference? You know, like what if we had reference / like trunk? Does not secretly live there yet. Yeah, I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. Is like we should have like trunk being built, right? Like let's build the trunk reference. And then once the release goes out, then we can retain, you know, like bring over any examples that were like specific for for trunk. I don't know. Let me think about this. Let me write this down. What do I want? What I need to do is I need to put this. This is my. Yeah, sort of. Well, okay, so for past releases, we have this, right? I just dropped it in the chat. So like once the developer reference has been built and put out there, you can look at all the sense things. The problem is like, how do we do it without like, do we need to build the entire reference and then how do we do this thing? I'm thinking about with user contributed notes basically, right? So like if I look at this, it basically would live under user contributed notes. That's what I'm talking about. It's like we should have a user contributed note that is basically what you would normally put in like a miscellaneous dev note, right? The field guide kind of thing. Because again, this is stuff people want to reference later, and I don't think it should be attached to make core and this chronological feed. It should be attached to the actual developer reference. And so how can we maybe be generating it against trunk, and then could we, the docs are always trunk. Holy crap. They don't have a develop branch? Is that real? A dev note field on track. I guess we could put it on track. I don't care where it lives. You know, like I don't care where the actual dev note lives. I want to find a way to like actually get, like pipe it to a place where it makes more sense. Yeah, like maybe we should have more of a culture of like writing docs and having those committed to something so like it can be used as a reference or something else. I guess that's what the dev reference is. I have a lot of thoughts about this. Technically possible to do. It's a manual task. Goes over to the full code base. Things may change. Yeah, I mean, like you'd have to do like a secondary build. So I actually do this here. A little bit of self-promotion here. So we have some GitHub Actions for WordPress. This is an umbrella repo that kind of links off to other stuff. It used to hold older versions, but now it's just supposed to be like linking off to things and giving some tutorials. So here we have publishing generated hook docs to GitHub pages. It's pretty sweet, I'm not gonna lie. I will link it here in the chat. But yeah, like I think this is pretty sweet. And so what we do here is distributor dot tenant.github.io/distributor. So we build into here. And we have like our actions and our filters, and it gets this generated documentation, which is pretty cool, you know. I don't know if we have like the @sense. I don't know if I've changed anything in distributor. Oh, here, yeah. @sense 1.3.7 added the context parameter, and you can. Oh no, but it only shows the latest sense. So that's kind of a problem with this JS doc thing. But anyway, it doesn't tell you like when it was originally introduced, but it does some of that. But yeah, like we generate these hook docs. It's cool. this is now always for the latest version. So what I probably should do is like add last updated or whatever to it. Now that I'm talking through it out loud, it should be like last updated with, you know, version whatever. The reason why it works that way though is because actually distributor is not on the .org repo, so it's kind of got a different structure. But what we have for branches, which I need to clean up, we have develop, which is the development branch. We have trunk, and trunk is what builds this out. So anytime we have a merge to trunk, it kicks off 2 GitHub actions, or 2 workflows. Okay, so we have build docs, and that happens anytime you push to trunk, which we only do when we're preparing for a release. The other thing it does when you push to trunk is it builds and commits to the stable branch, because we use that for releases, and so that it's available. I think it's nice to make a stable branch available. So we have this stable branch as well. Oops, because I'm on a specific file. So if you go to the stable branch, it only contains what you actually need for production. And so if somebody really wants to run production out of here, they can do that. We also upload the zip and everything, right? But yeah, we commit built versions. It's pretty chill. All this runs automatically whenever you merge to trunk. And so yeah, it only updates dev notes when you actually update that. I did notice that on Gutenberg the other day, actually, was that it only had master. That everything goes to master, and there's no, like, you would have to check out a branch, but that would only reflect like latest releases. So I think that there should always be like a development branch that is not, or there should always be a separate development branch from like your latest stable, and that are continuously running, right? It should not only be tags or branches, in my opinion. What do I know? I just run projects. All right. Cool. All right. Let me write down some thoughts here. So we're talking about WordPress core communications, make dev notes, dev ref. Okay, and so one of the things I want to do is build trunk version of dev reference. And then we want to be able to essentially like stage or even version control dev notes for hooks. These are user submitted. What are they called here? I write everything down. Users contributed notes. Right, so can we iterate on that stuff together as well? So, see, I'm a paper planner person, so that's my life. I have like a projects thing. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, my camera's, my view is really small. I'd have to switch views. Hang on. I have it. So there's like, I have like a project, and then planning and action steps. So I have that as a notebook, and then I have like my daily planner. Maybe I can show what last week looked like. I don't think this is going to show in private information, but like, this is what my last week looked like. It's very, very of a certain style. But I like it. I like my planner. It helps me stay super organized. what I end up doing, I've written a blog post about it, but what I really do is like, you see like red text. It's like my top 3 for the day. So I have like my top 3 things that I really should accomplish each day. Frankly, I do not always get to all 3 of them, but I try to break it down to like 3 things that I can reasonably check off for the day. Any other projects that I have going on, and then notes, especially during meetings. So I just don't do well with typed notes, and they always get lost. Like for me, like I type notes somewhere and it's just like lost into the ether forever, or like overly organized, if that makes sense. Like you get into like Notion, which I use. You can see down here. So like I get into like Notion, and then yeah. But then like I over nest things and just like lose it forever. Whereas like I feel like with a physical notebook, no digital solution has replaced the feeling of like paging through a notebook for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old person now. I'm an old millennial. Okay. Okay, well let me dump my thoughts. Post 5-6, you should explore some ways beyond pinning posts to indicate, hey developers, here are some upcoming changes you should know about. Indicate right at the top. Hey developers, core people, here are things needing testing, feedback, comments, RC. Well, that's what it is. Sure, tell me about your thorny issue we're gonna run into a few hours again. Tell me all about it. Whether I will want to get into it, I don't know, but tell me about it. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna let everybody else read this while I finish typing here. I don't like parallel. Good to have overwhelming, somewhat overwhelming, and it's hard to parse out what's important right now. Here is a core change that you need to do something about in your team's plugins custom dev. Oh boy. Oh. This is actually like this is actually like a pretty significant feature, isn't it? Shipping batch endpoints or a batch endpoint. Have people started comparing it to GraphQL yet? You think it's a guaranteed back compat break? Like, what's missing in it that it's still experimental. Like, what do you think would actually get broken in 5.7? I think that's what I never really understand, is because like I don't know all the details about like what exactly it's doing. So like I don't know what you anticipate it breaking. Okay. Oh, I see. It's mostly the namespace. So is there any reason not to make it a V1? Right. I mean, batching is one of those things too where like I honestly probably would expect more changes. And so maybe, maybe that ends up getting versioned more often. I don't know. It would be nicer if they lived as user contributed notes on the dev reference pages. I don't know what this would mean from a technical point of view, because I don't really know how it gets built and deployed. It seems to me there are multiple ways it would be nice to have developer WordPress / what's the something like developer WordPress reference trunk, where you can see all the items. Before release, and then we could explore putting those types of doc dev notes here and linking off to them ahead of time. I'm going to take this out of the thread. Yeah, so I like one of the things with MakeCore is like people consume it in different ways. Email, seeing it here, or navigates to it directly. So yeah, so there are different ways that you can like read stuff on MakeCore. But yeah, like let's say I'm eating and I'm eating by myself, which by the way is one of my favorite activities, probably because I have children, but it's always been one of my favorite activities, is just being by myself eating and reading at the same time. And one of the things that I do is like I would read MakeCore while I'm eating, and like with the amount of information that currently happens on MakeCore, I don't know, I just have a really hard time understanding like what's really important for me to look at right this second. So yeah. Even if the API didn't change when they were stabilized, they are renamed to remove. I see. I mean, I guess like because you're naming it experimental, people should know that. That they have to keep on top of it. So hopefully, you know, they know that. But yeah, I don't know. Feels like it's not really all that experimental. Well, okay, let me think about this. So batching is required, right? Is batching required for anything that's, yeah, it's required for something that's going to go into core. If it's required for something that's going into core, then I think you have to ship it as like a stable endpoint, because like at the point that people are hooking into other aspects of that experience, then like, I don't know, like, aren't we saying that it's stable because we're using it? I don't know. It feels like a weird communication thing. It's like if you label it experimental, but then you're shipping a feature using it. I don't know. Seems a little weird. Who reading? I just want to know who's reading my stuff. The Gutenberg team does not see it that way. Well, I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, guess who's technical lead? Me. So, yeah, I don't know. Everybody can feel differently. It's all good. We don't have to agree all the time. But I think if you're shipping something in core, it's kind of like, why are you shipping it if it's not ready? We're not supposed to ship things unless they're ready, right? So like, and you can ship endpoints in a plugin. So like there's no reason for it to be in core unless it's ready, right? So, or at least that was supposed to be how we're managing. Core Gutenberg wouldn't work if we removed all usage. Please throw me away. I don't know. Yeah, decision making. Poop. So here's the thing. So and this actually relates to like what I was just typing in Make Core or in Core Slack. This is an action item, isn't it? Like, isn't this a current action item for the release? Maybe we should be bringing this up in Core. You know, like not everything has to wait for a meeting, right? Like we should be able to just like start a conversation at any moment. To make it inclusive, you have to summarize it and post it again, right back on Make Core. But you can have a synchronous conversation when you have the time to talk about it. So like this to me, yeah. I think actually very few people are paying attention to everything that happens in Core Chat. There's a lot of noise that happens in Core Chat, and also, you know, like not everybody has the time to show up. So this to me feels like an action item. I don't know if it's that like it should have been a track ticket. If we should just like talk about it now. Should we bring this up in Core now? And the other thing is like, one of the things that we're having a hard time with, in my opinion, is that, you know, we've made it somewhat easier to contribute in that we've like created separate channels and whatever. When we're doing a scrub, yes, like you get these expanded ticket notes and it's kind of hard. So you just kind of have to be in the moment with it. But I think what ends up happening sometimes is like you have a meeting in core REST API, like that Slack channel. And somebody like me who has entirely too many things open, I never end up seeing it in the moment, right? You could say like, yes, I should see it because like I'm currently the technical lead for this release. However, this was in 5.5. And I was, June was a rough month. So, you know, like, should I see all this stuff all the time? Okay. Back to current 5.6 stuff. Seems, wait, the commit for what though? Decision needs to be made about experimental endpoint naming. This is like the big Gutenberg merge? Widgets? Are we saying that we're doing that? I don't know. Blog. Okay. Well, I'll bring it up. Let me see. Usually do the REST API endpoints. That makes sense. I like that. I mean, there's having unstable APIs, and then there's like actually using that stuff in core. Yeah. A raid. Hello. Oh no. Thank you. Thanks for following. Oh, hi. Yay. What were you streaming about? I've been very bad about watching streams recently just because I've been very very overwhelmed with this release. Ooh, cool. Doing Go stuff. PHP is gonna look terrible, probably. I don't know very much about Go, I guess. I don't know how this PHP is gonna look to you, if we even get into it. I'm currently like on some like project philosophy and communication stuff. But we're trying to make, ooh, oh, thank you for 10 bits. Yeah, I don't know. We're trying to make a decision about REST API endpoints. So you don't have to know anything about PHP to help us decide. Going into shipped version of core. So in our REST API, oh, thanks for subscribing. I've seen people do stuff like freestyle raps for subscribers. I will not be doing that, but I feel like I should come up with something. So overall view, we have a REST API in WordPress, yay, and it has some like content endpoints, and so we've been really like, I think, prescriptive about what our endpoints, you know, what they include. And so I feel like, you know, one of the criticisms about like a classic REST API and why there's a lot of appeal in like GraphQL, right, is like this idea that in a traditional REST API, you frequently have to make multiple requests in order to accomplish something because you're getting very specific prescriptive data back. So you have to like make one request, get that data back, do something about it, then make another request to do something, right? Whereas it's almost like a database query, right? Like you make the one query to get all the IDs, and then you make the next query to like actually retrieve all of the relational information for those IDs. And so for now, in something that is being worked on for WordPress, that they're hoping to include in this next release, we're headed for beta 1 tomorrow. I'm one of the lead developers, and I'm the technical lead for the 5.6 release, so I have to like make these decisions, and I'm trying to get as much information as I can in order to make a good decision, which maybe somebody will, I can still be overridden. There are 4 other lead developers for WordPress broadly, and also, of course, the project co-founder and product owner for WordPress. So, in any case, we're trying to decide if we should commit a batch endpoint, which is where you can make batch requests, right? Like get all of these things all at once instead of like item by item. And then, or like put them or whatever. And then should it be, I think this has to go in for this proposed feature to work. So if we commit it, if we add it to WordPress and ship it with this release, should it be under an experimental namespace? Because it is sort of experimental? Or should we go ahead and label it V1 and sort of anticipate that later we'll have to go V2 just because the block editor, which is developed, block editor is its own project, and we like periodically like merge major improvements from it into WordPress for like the release cycle, right? Because like WordPress, the major project has release cycles, and then other things have like their own release rhythms. REST API routes have to opt into batching support. The endpoint is stable enough for core. I don't even know what this freaking endpoint looks like. Is there a patch PR for this endpoint? Just so I can actually look at the code. So yeah, the font. What is my font? I think I'm on operator mono. That Hoffler font. Is that what that Foundry is called now? Like one of the, it used to be like 2 dudes' names, and one of them like Rage Quit or something. Yeah, I use that font. I don't know if I even should be. But yeah, I like it. It has this cute little cursive thing. Oh, but something. Gosh, hang on. The badge. Oh, I have some emotes now too. What is their definition of what experimental means in the sense of compatibility guarantees? That's the real question. What it means, I think it's really a developer communication thing where like if you're a developer and you use this endpoints, the naming of it makes it very clear that with every release of WordPress, you need to be on top of it, because someday when we move it to V1, all your stuff is going to break, right? And so you're saying by using that experimental endpoint, you are saying that like I as a developer accept the risk, right? Essentially, and therefore, I will be on top of it, and I can't get mad if this experimental thing breaks on me. When we put something as a V1, WordPress has a backwards compatibility policy in most things, where things are backwards compatible essentially forever, where the principle behind it is like you could update from WordPress like 3.1 to 5.5 and your site would survive. May not work totally correctly, but it would like survive is the idea. And it currently is true for the most part. Of course, plugins and whatever make it harder. But yeah, like once we commit it as a V1, then any further improvements to it, I don't even know what would happen in a batch endpoint that would actually change. That's what I don't really understand. Okay, here it is. Is it back compatible if it's not private? The code is entirely in serve batch requests. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we do have this. I'm going to throw this in this chat. What does it mean to have experimental and unstable APIs? Yeah. Like if you look at this, what's in serve batch request? Polyfill batching. I don't know what this means. Ooh, cool. Well, that's fun. Okay. This all seems super generic. Like when I'm looking at this. So we're going through the matches, validation has error, and we're just heading into, we're matching the request to the handler for each part of the batch, adding the error. This all seems, I see. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, the backfill. And then all of this. Yeah, I mean, this is just looping through stuff and sending it off to the right place and getting it back before it sends it back. I don't see what would change for the future. Like, I don't know. What else is going to change? Yeah, famous last words. Everything's a freaking famous last word in WordPress. I don't what does the core commit? That's what I want to know. What does like a patch for this look like? Okay. So this is what wait, so this is in trunk? Is it reasonably common to have experimental or unstable features in WordPress? Historically, no. In large part because we have this culture and policy of back compat. So we tend to be like pretty conservative about what we ship because the basic thing is like once you ship WordPress, it's out there, right? And it's distributed software. It is not like SaaS products, right? Where they can ship changes to their product many, many times a day. WordPress just ships on its schedule, but then you have the entire ecosystem of plugins, themes, and custom development, all of which operate on their own release cycles, if they even have a cycle, or if they just release stuff when it's ready, which is, sorry, how I handle my personal projects. And so with all those integration points, right, so we have like hooks, we have, you can alter very nearly anything in WordPress, sometimes in good ways, sometimes in very bad ways, and they're runtime hooks. So once you get into that, it is really hard to say like we will retain compatibility not only with ourselves but also with like all of these custom integrations, right? And so like you can't just like rampantly change naming. We're having some issues with PHP 8 in particular because when you have these hooks, let me see if there's one in here. Apply filters. Yeah, so here we have like apply filters. So this is an example of a hook. We fire a hook called REST request before callbacks, and we send the response. And so you can alter this response object, right? And then we pass the handler and the request as additional context for when you're running that hook. So you can say like, I only want to do it for certain requests. Only on certain requests do I want to alter the response object in this context, like before running any callbacks. And so if you want to add more context, which frequently happens, right? Like you have a hook and you're like, hey, I would actually like to have like, let's say the entire, server environment or something, that's not real, but like, let's say you did, and you would add that, but then you would now have a parameter count mismatch. So we're having some like fun stuff going on with newer PHP. Just not because like WordPress itself has a problem in itself, but depending on how somebody else has implemented that on their end, it could break their stuff. And so we're running into a lot of like fun, funky things with custom integrations. And so backcompat is very hard. Additional flags for handling the time information checks, but done without breaking backcompat. Yeah. Okay, so this is the commit that made it possible. But that commit that made it possible is already in core. So this is already in there. Okay, these are tests. Filters the response immediately after executing any REST API callbacks. This is existing. It's just been moved. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know what anything in the Kubernetes space looks like. I don't know how anything operates there. So yeah, please tell me about it. I would love to know more, and like where I might be able to read more, because the things that I know more about are like how PHP RFC works. I know a little bit. jQuery has changed, and of course, it like isn't a super active project anymore. But used to know a bit more about that, and then some stuff about Drupal. But honestly, outside of like things that WordPress directly interacts with, I don't know a whole lot. So new features go explicitly through an experimental, unstable, stable process. Yeah, smart. It's mandatory. Yeah. For new WordPress features, because of the hookability of WordPress, and because our priority as a project is not technical users, right? So we are specifically not developer tooling, which is not to say that we don't care about developers. Sometimes it's taken that way as like WordPress saying like, oh, we don't care about developers. That's not the case. It's just that developers are not prioritized as we develop new things. And so sometimes, yeah, like the developer experience of WordPress like kind of sucks. I think, so what we have moved to over the last several years is, so I've been working on WordPress itself for like almost 10 years. And so over the last several years, we've moved to a model where new large features, especially user-facing ones, are developed as plugins. Publicly flagged in paths with support guarantees different. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we develop plugins that you can install as a user, right? And so like if you're a user who wants to like check out like, things being proposed or things people are working on, you install them the way that any other WordPress plugin gets installed. And then you run it. In those plugins themselves can make their own determination about how compatible with itself it's going to be. And part of the reason why it lives as a plugin is because like even if you're aiming for it to go into WordPress itself, to ship with WordPress itself at some point, the idea is like you're solving a real problem that already exists, right? And so even if your plugin never truly becomes ready to include with WordPress, or like WordPress goes in a different direction, presumably you are solving an existing problem, right? And therefore your plugin will be valuable to people whether it ships with WordPress or not. And so you make these plugins. Gutenberg is what we call the one for the block editor. Huge project. I cloned it on stream on Friday. Huge mistake. 1.34 gigs of Git objects. Yeah, so it has its own process and definitions of experimental, like what I linked earlier, and it has its own cycle. It has its own way of like, it has sub packages, so how those get published, JavaScript packages, how those get published. It has its own giant thing with actions, GitHub Actions, all that kind of stuff. And the project itself is run on GitHub, whereas WordPress core we use Track as our central like issue and project management tool. So these projects can do their own thing and they can have their own definitions. But when it comes to including it in WordPress itself, we get to a point where the project says, that feature project says, I'm ready for merging into WordPress. And what they do is they make a post. So we have our make.wordpress.org/core, which is what I was looking at here. And you make a post there saying like, here's my proposal, right? Here's my rationale. Here's why I think it's ready. Here's the process we've gone through up until this point. Here's what our next steps are in order to get it ready for merge, should this be an accepted proposal. And so it's open for comment. Essentially, we don't have like a formal comment process. I don't know that we really want to get to that point. Sometimes it feels like when you tie stuff that formally, then people have a much tighter set of expectations, which I'm not sure that we could meet as a project. But we're essentially saying like, this is open for comment, right? This is an RFC on this proposed feature. And so people should be testing it. People should be commenting about like whether they support it, any questions that they have, things that we would like the developers to be aware of, to think about. And then should that be approved, then we move into the next step, which is the merge proposal, the technical merge itself. So they produce a patch however they want. We don't merge pull requests on GitHub, but we accept them as a part of our patch like code review workflow. So you can create a pull request or you upload a patch file to Track. Each has its own pros and cons. And and then we go from there. So that's why like I'm looking at this like, okay, what does an actual patch look like for adding these endpoints? I assume it's essentially just adding this file. I talk a lot worse than I try to write. But the plugin process is pretty cool. And the thing there is like, because our priority audience is end users, we want that stuff to be available to end users, right? For testing, like, 'cause they're going to tell us better, maybe the shape of their feedback can be a little iffy, but those are the real people that we want to get that feedback from, right? Because like the way that I use WordPress is not necessarily the way that like, other people use WordPress. Although honestly, the longer that I observe other developers using WordPress, I think that the way that I use WordPress is much closer to the way your standard person on shared hosting doing a one-click installer for WordPress. It's much closer to the way that WordPress is used in that context, as opposed to like, I have a staging environment and I stage all my content updates and then I use, the WordPress CLI to push that over to like my live site. It's like, I don't do any of that stuff. I'm using WordPress as like a normal person. So I assume that this would be the contents of the commit for the batch. Well, if the supporting infrastructure for that constraints, context, bias, and experiences are going to be a lot different. Yes, they're extremely different. And the combination of things that they're using, like different plugins, different themes, different environments, all that stuff is like infinitely varied, and it's like fascinating to see. Like it can be really frustrating as a core developer, you know, like people can be really abusive in their feedback, and you know, they're running all kinds of like crazy combos where it's like, wow, I would never recommend that. But they don't know, you know, if it's available, somebody's probably using it, right? So yeah, you've done support. That's something a lot of people are missing too, is like have never had to do significant support for somebody running a website on their own. And so they just are like missing that context of like, how does a person look at computers, you know? Okay. What was this commit? Does this not tell me? Oh no, here. How do I just paste? Freaking Slack. I want to turn that off. R change set number. Well, oh yeah, I use the brackets. It doesn't really make a difference. The problem here was like copy pasting it out of my browser because it's a link. So Slack now has like rich text formatting, and so it like made it into a link. It's like, okay, yeah, I should have just typed the number, I guess. I don't have a number pad anymore. I haven't had a number pad in years. I kind of miss it when I get into this kind of stuff where it's like trying to touch type like numbers in the number row. Sucks. Yeah, I can turn the formatting off. I probably should. I have just not been able to get used to it. How do I wait? Can I not anymore? I thought you could turn that off. Is it in advanced? Format messages with markup, the text formatting toolbar. So maybe I should just do that for now. It's been driving me nuts. Page up, page down, home and end, always scroll messages. I don't have those keys. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. We're making decisions. Thanks. Yeah, let's see if maybe that makes my this Slack experience better, because in this particular Slack, what I'm talking about is typically like close to plain text. So I don't know. Hey, thanks for following. I stream typically like a couple times a week as I work on WordPress. I feel very fortunate that my work is open. The vast majority of my work is open. And so I think it's interesting for people to be able to see like what's it like working on a project that is how old is WordPress? 17 and a half years old, and something that I've been working on. I started contributing to WordPress in June of 2011, I think is the last time I looked that up. So 9 years, a little over 9 years. And I started at 10up so I'm the director of open source initiatives at 10up. And I started at 10up in August of 2011. And I was just like typical client services kind of stuff. So building sites for our clients. But started contributing, I had already been contributing to WordPress, and I think in November of that year, just a few months after starting, that's the last time we had interactions with WordPress. Yeah. Well, you know, it's not everybody's favorite thing, and a lot about WordPress now can just be run, you know, on its own. So like, you know, either you get like these big consulting agencies like where I work, we have like 200 some people, or else you're like on the hosting end of things for like shared hosting and that kind of stuff. I don't know. And then there's like some in-house work, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of big companies outsource their work. Like we do. Am I allowed to talk about this stuff? I don't know. Trying to make sure I'm not naming anything private, but you know, like if you look at our site, I'm sure we have like a bunch of company logos, but like we do a lot of the work for like big companies where you know what? Let me just pull this up because not because I'm trying to boast, although maybe a little bit, but just so I'm not like talking about something I'm not supposed to talk about. Who is it that... Okay, here you go. So we do some stuff for like Microsoft. Gosh. There's a lot of stuff I don't see here. Go by my website. Yeah. This is what I know I'm approved to talk about because I know more than a lot of things. So here's you know, we do work with like Microsoft. Who else in here? Cleveland Clinic, Reddit. Yeah, the Reddit one was like widely publicized, I guess. So yeah, like we do work with these places where like we are managing like some things that like maybe you would have thought they would do in-house, but in reality, like when it comes to like some WordPress specific thing, they end up outsourcing it to somebody like us where we help them through the build and sometimes do the hosting for them, or you know, say yeah, we're gonna suggest you pay somebody like WordPress.com where they have like their own VIP hosted solution. You know, like what do we recommend for you as like your hosting stack, and then you know how do we support you through that? So, you know, that's what we do. It's pretty chill. I like it. Yeah. So I started contributing to like getting paid to contribute to WordPress like a few hours a week in like November of 2011, and this sort of just like over time expanded as like we grew as a company, right? So I was like the first employee. So like that doesn't scale to donating my time all the time, right? But as we grew as a company, and then I took parental leave, my first round of parental leave in 2013. And so after I came back from parental leave, I basically never fully ramped back up on a client stuff. And I've been like full-time doing open source stuff since sometime. Try not to reveal too much info about my kids, but at some point in 2013, I was basically full-time working on open source stuff. And I've gone in and out of being part-time in the years since, just again, like kids and life and just, you know, things that happen. But I now am back to being full-time, and I just work on open source stuff all the time. Even I have like a couple client things that I'm currently on, but they are client sponsored open source projects, which is very exciting. I'm really happy about that. So shout out to my teammate Jeff Paul, who I actually met working on WordPress. I was looking for a project manager type to help me through WordPress 4.7 several years ago, and he was recommended to me as somebody who could help me with that stuff, and we've just worked really well together. So now I got him over to me at 10up, and he helps me manage the team. So we've been finding these kind of opportunities to have companies support us, like fund us working on open source projects. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so Sergey's committing stuff. I got a +1, yeah, from you. So I don't know. I don't think it should be experimental, but I guess we'll find out. See if anyone even notices this conversation happened. Okay, so what I was looking at, prompted by your comment about my fonts, there is a super cute site by Amy, Sailor Mercury, Compute Cuter, and she has a bunch of stuff about like fonts, so you can check out like, and it does this live preview. So I use Fairy Floss, which is by Amy, but they're super cute. Let's see, here's a light, Noctis is like a light colored one, and you can try like Latin Modern Mono is a pretty cute font. And so you can like check out what you might want your editor to look like. Oh look, that has a cute cursive thing too. But operator, I don't know. I really love that cursive in it. Well, I guess more and more are including cursives as italics. But yeah, so you can see like these fonts. Oh, that's fun. It's kind of squat, but and then stuff about keyboards. So I'm really into. Right, yeah, I'll be around for a while. Yeah, so you can see some stuff about like cute keyboards. So mechanical keyboards, which I happen to also like, and so you probably hear me typing away on mine. Mine's not like a clicky switch, but it does actually make a fair amount of noise just because of it's made of acrylic, so you can hear like yeah the keys kind of like bottoming out on the acrylic, but not on the acrylic, but like amplified by it. But yeah, so like cute keycaps. So you can just have like a cute environment, which is pretty cool. So that's what I have going on. I have a pretty cute desk. So yeah, computer, super cute. Yeah, I love keyboards. I built one keyboard on stream last month, and I have an ungodly amount of mechanical keyboard stuff, but it's in the U.S. I don't live in the U.S. I live in Costa Rica. My husband is Costa Rican, and import taxes here are very high, which like I don't begrudge. We have universal health care, great, but we do have very high import taxes, and they tend not to tax your personal belongings when you fly here. So, thunderstorm. It's rainy season here, so it might get a little loud. But yeah, so when it comes to just like personal stuff, like if I was reselling this stuff, then yeah, I would pay import tax. That's how business operates. But for my personal stuff, sometimes it's a little like, I don't want to pay for that. And also shipping. Yes, exactly. I'm waiting for my trip back. So my husband is going, he's a musician, so he's going to be doing like just with his group of 4, they're going to be doing like a shut-in 2-week thing, because I think they have to like stream a concert where they're all playing together, and do like a conference, a festival. And so he's going to be there. So he's going to be a little outside of New York, which is where my family is. So my mother is going to take a suitcase of stuff to him, just basically like open the trunk and make him take it out, I guess, for safety. But yeah, he'll bring back a suitcase full of stuff, but that's going to be primarily stuff for like our kids, like toys, and I think we have a Nintendo Wii that is ours, and it's just like hanging out at her house. So I think he's going to bring that back for the kids to play with, because they're getting old enough to be able to both play together. And then I'm going over Thanksgiving, which I'm not super excited about. I just want to make it super clear. I'm not going for fun. It's a very, very, it's not the right time to be flying around for fun, in my opinion. But I have some family stuff that I have to take care of, and specifically my mother is moving. She sold her house that she's been in for a very long time, and downsizing and moving back into an apartment in New York City that she's owned since the 90s. My grandparents used to live there. And that's actually my U.S. address. So she'll be moving back there because she doesn't have kids living in the house anymore. So I need to go help her. Yeah. Oh, cardboard boxes when you get food, Yeah, I guess I could do that. Like I could throw. I did do that once. I brought back an IKEA mattress for one of my kids' beds because it's really hard to find this shallow it's like shallow foam mattresses here. You can only buy like the full depth ones, which are not great for my kids have loft beds. So I ended up flying back with one of those IKEA mattresses, and I just like put duct tape around the plastic wrap and like made a handle out of it, and that was like one of my luggage items. I don't know. It was still cheaper than shipping something here or trying to import something. So whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna go help my mom move, downsize, etc., and then pick up my giant bags of stuff that I have bought and has been sitting in the US. So there will be probably an unholy pile of mechanical keyboards. I'm talking like, I think a couple of macro pads and then like 5 or 6 keyboards to build. And one of them is a split keyboard, which I'm actually really excited about. So like split keyboard, and it has like a 2x5 macro row on the left, but I could use it for number entry. And then, yeah, maybe I'll get better at entering numbers again. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Wow, 80 kilograms of stuff. Stairs. It is not an ErgoDox. It is still like a standard staggered layout. I have a separate ortho keyboard coming in, but it has a standard split layout. Let me see. I'll just open it on the stream. YMD 75. Split 75 YMDK. Here we go. This is it. This is, yeah, so it's this thing. It's a stacked acrylic thing again. I might get like a cool colored top layer cut or something at some point. But yeah, it's this split standard staggered layout, but it has these macro keys on this side. And yeah, I think like it's not a standard number pad, so I'd still have to get used to the entry, but I think I'd be able to manage that a whole lot better than I can manage the number row for number entry. So it's these. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I like the idea of split and then putting my trackpad in the middle. And then the keycaps, if you want to see what's going to go on there. The keycaps that are going to go on there are these. Let me see. View image. So those are the keycaps that are going to go on there. And actually, this is a pretty good representation because it has these macro keys, which I do have. Because it does have like different row profiles, so I want to make sure that they're set up correctly. But yeah, so I'll end up with basically this plus the function row. So I'll have these keycaps. I'm really excited for these. It's not so much on the cute side of things, and I just have plain alphas. I am Chinese, so I don't put Japanese on my computer keyboards. No weeb stuff for me, but yeah, I think it'll be really cool. It'll be a really cool look. But I also have those Astrala keys coming, and I'm gonna put them on a ortholinear keyboard and also try that. I don't know. I have like a million things that I want to try. So what I figure is like I'm gonna try all these different things, and then if I don't love it, maybe I'll sell it, or maybe it will become, I don't know, office art essentially, like a display. Who knows? The stuff resales for a lot. Thinking of getting Melodica's keycaps for the ErgoDox, forcing myself to learn how to use it. Yeah, have you seen? There's a 50 Cent using it. 50 Cent. Look at this. Look at this photo. 50 Cent. Oh my gosh, this zoom is wild. Yeah, here's 50 Cent using Magic Girl is what he's talking about. Melodica's keycaps, and this is an ErgoDox. And I have these little palm rests coming in, actually. I think I ordered purple ones. Yeah. She built this. It's amazing. I love it. I thought about an ErgoDox. I have small hands. You can see next to my face. I have little hands and little thumbs and very small pinkies. So I've heard that the ErgoDox is not great for small hands because the thumb cluster is actually really wide, so it would be like this for me. I've been looking at the Moonlander. I'm totally not working on WordPress right now, but I don't care. There is a keyboard called the Moonlander, which is from the same people who make the ErgoDox Easy. So look, it has these integrated palm rests that are curved. It's super cute. And then a tenting thumb cluster. So I've been really tempted by this. I feel like if I were to buy like a split. Yeah, yeah. We all need it. I think if I were to buy a split ortho keyboard like that, I would probably go for the Moonlander. Yeah, it looks super cool. Let me see if there are more photos. Yeah, so this has columnar stagger. I don't think it adjusts, though. I have to show you. Okay, let's just accept that we're talking about keyboards for a little while. Going off. But yeah, so it has columnar stagger, which is supposed to fit the curve of your fingers, although like if you look at mine, my pinky is very short, so I don't know that that pinky column would actually work out for me. But you can just use the left side, that's pretty chill. But yeah, I love this little key. They say a 1.5 works really well in this space. Or 1.75 maybe. So yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So like the ErgoDox, I think this is cute. I don't care so much about the backlining because I don't really use like layers, but like look how slim that is. I think it's pretty cool looking. It folds up. Look at that. Fold the wing under. Comes with a carrying case. Oh, cool! Every Moonlander comes with a free full license for Epistory. That's pretty cool. Yeah, the slimness is nice. Like, look at this. So you can tent the thumbs. So like you could angle each half out and then tent the thumbs, and then you're more like this instead of like spreading out all the time. So I'm also a pianist. So yeah, you can see this. Oh, and you can put the thumbs in, so you can like kind of hit it on the side. Yeah, so like, I would probably use it this way, but like I'm also a pianist. Like my degrees are in piano. I have my master's in collaborative piano. So one of the things that you learn is like when you have to stretch all the time, if you pay attention, so your fingers do have muscles, but your finger movements are not actually like the muscles in your fingers moving your hands. It is your tendon. It's this bundle of tendons that runs through here, and that's why like if you end up with carpal tunnel, which is like the compression of the tunnel here, where all that whole bundle of nerves and tendons goes through, you have a lot of problems. So yeah, so it's your tendons that are really moving your fingers, and so if you have one of these tendons extended, it makes it really difficult to move the rest. And so that's why like having your thumb extended all the time is like not good. It puts a ton of pressure. Like you can, like my muscle is tense, and then you can feel like the tendons just have a hard time moving because of this one. So so that's why like I don't want in a regular ErgoDox, it just looks just like really rough on like the stretching. But this I feel like could be really cool. So I don't know, it's cute, and it comes in white, which is nice, and this thumb module is cute. So I don't know, the piano keys, yeah. So I feel like putting custom keycaps on this, you end up losing some of these benefits, like these piano keys and like the profile that they're in. But I don't know. I just think it could be really cool. So I don't know. How much are these now? What happens if I hit buy now? I customize. I want a white one. What's my expert mode? Expert mode. How much is this gonna be? Maybe I would get some like weird switches that I would never use otherwise. So like what if I put Kalebox whites in it? I hate clicky. I would just never use it. 365. Damn. That is a lot. That is asking a lot. I'm supposed to be saving for a different split keyboard than I want. It's going to be even more than that. 365. But with keycaps and switches. What if I didn't want switches? I guess you don't have that option. Yeah, so you have the ErgoDox Easy. Which looks like this. And yeah, you can see like just how big this thumb thing is. And these are 1.5s. So like on the Moonlander, these are all 1s, all along the edge. But then the Ergodox has these 1.5s on the edges of the thumb cluster. The other thing is the Ergodox it's an open source PCB design, and so they have a lot of keycaps for it. Like these are really cool. So like, hi, thanks for following. How's it going? Which Marco are you? If you're Marco H, I haven't seen you in a long time. But yeah, look, I'm talking about keywords right now. I'm talking about WordPress. But Ergodox, because it's an open source PCB and it has a lot of compatibility out there, a lot of different cases and stuff, they make keycaps specifically for that design. So you get something like DSA file bloom, which has a gradient, and so they've made a set that has that gradient specifically for that keyword layout, and so you would lose that. Like if I went on Moonlander, I'd have to get multiple sets of blanks in order to have the outside edges, or get like probably a separate ortho kit so I could have that, but then you would still not have all the yellow, you know? So it's kind of like, yeah, I think you'd have to just get a bunch of blanks. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to say, because like, what keycaps could I use for that layout? Because maybe I would want something like these keycaps because they're so cute, but then they don't actually work on the Moonlander. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to show, I don't remember what this keyword was called. Let's see. Very short. Yeah, the thumb spot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what really sucks here is like custom keywords don't seem to be much of a thing here. I assume because of import taxes, and so and like lower income, and so I just like I don't have a place where I could go. Like there's no keyboard meetup or something where like I could try somebody's Ergodox and see if maybe it really does work, and I'm just freaking out about nothing. I do a ton of keyboard shortcuts, so I feel like I would really love to have thumb keys for like the modifier combos that I use a lot. So I don't know. I feel like I would like to have that. Yeah, Australia. I mean, Europe too, Canada, everywhere except the US. I think people in the US don't appreciate what it means to not have import taxes and to have really good shipping available at a national level. I feel like people in the US don't appreciate that unless they actually spend time living somewhere else. There was this keyboard, let's see, mechanical keyboard individually placed switches. Keyboard split. What was that? Dang it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try to find this later, but basically it's not in my stupid history. Okay. Basically it's like a split you traced your hand and sent it to a friend. That's so smart. I should ask. I don't know. I really just want to try it, but there's this keyboard that has like the split thing, and it has the two sides, but instead of it being like a PCB inside, like a one-piece PCB, and your switches are in specific places. Each switch has its own little box, so you plug the switch into the little switch box, and that can be placed anywhere on the side. Like, I don't understand how it works. It has individually addressed boxes, and you plug in the switch and you put the keycap on it. And so you could put your, like the one key over here and it would work. It would know that it's the one and you've just placed it over here. And they're like magnetic and they just snap onto it. Split magnetic. No. Oh, here. No, this is pressure sensitive. Where do I find this like absolutely insane keyboard? Isn't this what that was? DK series? Yeah, these. Look at this. Look at this crazy thing. It comes with these two sides, and then every single switch is inside its own little box, and you can put it anywhere on that plate. You can just like put it down and it works. So like, I don't understand. Look at this. You have these whole plates. You can just put stuff wherever you want. Isn't that nuts? And I love it. So the other thing is like, maybe I wouldn't go for like an Ergodox or a Moonlander. What I would do is like get one of these and just make some like crazy ass keyboard where like everything just goes exactly where my fingers would be. / my husband has agreed that a programmable keyboard sounds like a really smart idea for him because he does some video production and he does music composition. And so having a keyboard where you have inputs that are grouped for like, instead of like remembering that Z means this, like grouping this stuff together in a way that makes sense. So I don't know, like maybe this would actually work really well for him and then he could just move stuff around the way that he feels like it. I don't know. Wouldn't that be fun? This is what I'm thinking about all the time. I should... You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to my AliExpress cart because I already have like a million things in there. And just add it to my cart. And that way I don't forget about it later. Alright. Enough keyboards. Until next time when I actually build something. I need to go eat in a minute. But let's commit something crazy. So here. I have this. Let me update my core. So we use Subversion in WordPress, and I have this horrific setup where I have the Subversion checkout, and then it is also a Git repo. So you do the Subversion checkout, and then you initialize a Git repo and set the remote to the Git mirror, because I'm a monster. So, yeah, I'm very sorry about what I've done. Everything's resolved. I don't use the Git Subversion. No, I use the GitHub remote. Hang on, what is it doing? Why is it hung up? I'm doing an SVN remote. Oh, it's doing an update. Okay. If you look at the remotes, so I have the WordPress GitHub remote. Some of this is because we just started this on Friday. We're running our automated tests on GitHub Actions now as well, so that we can run them against pull requests. There's no easy way to do that through Subversion. And then I have my fork. I do have push access to this, but we don't push to it because it's just a mirror. Okay, so yeah, we had to use Subversion anyway. Yeah, so the Git SVN, some people use it and say it's fine, but I don't know. I don't really see any reason to like get into yet another tool. For me, this way, I'm just using Git the way that I know how to use Git, and I'm using Subversion the way that I know how to use Subversion. And I just happen to have this one alias that cleans everything for me so that I can kind of like reset my environment. Because I'm not, hopefully not, if I do any sort of like long running work, it's going to be on a branch anyway, so I'm not going to blow anything away. Okay, so I want to check out track 19879. So I made a branch for this because I'm syncing this person's patches over. And the reason why I did that is because they have 2 separate patches, which is totally fine. But it was hard for me to track which one was being, like which is which and which was the latest of each. And then I synced these over and I opened a pull request, and then it ran the automated tests. And because now we're using GitHub Actions, it does annotations, which are magical. So when we have coding standards failures, it annotates them in line in the pull request, so that you can see, instead of having like parse through the entire error log like you have to on Travis. I don't know, maybe Travis supports annotations and we just like never took advantage of it, but I don't think it does. But yeah, so we get annotations here because this is running through GitHub Actions and our PHP-CS workflow. And then this was just me like showing this on stream, but what you can do is you can suggest a change and you could actually commit that suggestion from here. So like if I was working through this and wanted to be able to commit somebody's patch and it just had like a couple of standards problems, I could actually put that in here and then, you know, check that out on my local and then commit that PR using Subversion, which is what I'm going to do here shortly. So yeah, so we have all of this, and this also made it easier for me to see all of the above. And then it ran all the tests and it said all the tests are fine. I just need a comma here. So this person has now updated this stuff. So I want to apply the patches. However, it is probably going to be very unhappy about this. So we have a track patch thing. Okay. So it's saying I can't do it because oh my goodness, what did I just do? Oh, I see. Yeah, because I need to update it from Git. This is the part where it's like getting it clean in Git is such a pain. So in this case, if I don't do anything in Git, currently it is, yeah. Like if I look at the Git diff, it's going to be, whoa, missing a bunch of stuff. Oh, I guess it's going to have changed all this stuff. So here's what I'm going to do. I can force push, which is fine because it's just a mirroring thing. So I'm going to work through how I'm going to do this because I've not done this before. So I'm going to apply this patch. I'm going to apply this patch. I'm using TP. It's an alias. We have a grunt task, grunt patch, and then it accepts a ticket number where it'll show you patches that you can select from, or you can give it a fully formed URL and it will just straight up apply it for you, so you don't have to know how to apply diffs. And then what I am going to do here is check my git diff. Okay, so it has all that stuff. So what I want to do here is maybe what I really should do is revert that. No. I want to basically what I want to do is I want to unstage those previous commits in Git, and then like undo those previous commits and then reapply these, and then rebase, I think is what I want to do. So let me revert everything in Git. And how do you revert? Let me see. Like, how do I just revert to that point? 8. Oh, and I was, no. Here. 14. Okay. I don't, this is the part that I remember. So Git, undo previous commit. Git reset. Well, I just reset it. So head just -1. Let me see. Is that right? I guess I need to do 2. Okay, so hard, and I will lose all the changes. Yeah. Okay, so hang on. So I want to reset hard, and I think I need to back up 2 actually. Is it head? Okay. And then I need to how do I, okay, so I want to do git pull rebase against master, right? So I want to rebase it. Oh, I've undone 3. Okay, let's try again. Git reset. It's just 1. This is what I don't. This is what I never understand. Is like if I look at the log, but it's showing me everything against master. I don't know. Git reset hard head -1. So that's really -2, right? This is what I never remember. Is it like just 1 or is it 2? Things I don't remember about Git. Okay. So it should show me I am behind by 4 commits. God. Yeah, nobody remembers this. Okay, well, this is untracked. I don't know. How do I reset it? What if I just blow it away? And like, well, I don't want it to pull from like, because it has a remote already. Oh, I don't have any bank commands set up. I'm just working on WordPress. I'm trying to commit this thing, but I want to run the tests against this new patch. So this is what I don't know how to do, is I don't know how to take somebody's new patch from track and bring it over to my branch in GitHub, in Git, and then push that to GitHub to run the tests. I am working on WordPress core. So we're gunning for the 5.6 beta 1 tomorrow. And I have a lot to do. But I'm currently working through this. And then I'm probably going to get off stream for a while because I need to eat. But maybe I'll come back on and just keep working. Go to the top of the branch. I'm doing a git pull But from master, right? Because I want to rebase it. I don't want that merge commit. It drives me crazy when there are merge commits. I don't know. I want to change the last commit. Well, I could do that, right? If I apply this now, then I could amend the commit. Actually, you know what? Let's do this without removing my commits. Okay, so how can I? Well, because I don't want to remove the commits. I just want to. Can you like reverse? Git revert. Yeah, so I can revert commits, right? But I have to record new commits. What? Oh. Maybe let's just try this. Let's, oh my god. Diffing diffs. I want to avoid that. I want to come up with like, what is a good way to do this? So let's just try this. And then I think I need to remove tests. Let me remove this file. Oops. Okay. And then let's try applying this. So now if I look at so this should give me a diff of a diff. Okay. Ooh, why did that change? This seems correct though. Now this does seem like I've gotten the correct diff of a diff. Right? This is all new. Why are these patches so different? What? Right? Or is this all the new stuff? Because I removed those previous ones? Did I remove those previous commits? I don't know. I'm 5 commits behind where I was. But how did I do that? How did I mess this up so badly? I don't know. You call reset, it won't. Oh, I see. How do I go back to the top of the tree? Okay, I see. I understand that conceptually, but I don't know how to get out of the hole. Also, this is definitely like, this looks like a diff on top of the diff. I don't know. Okay, what if, so conceptually what I want is to essentially start this branch over. I want to start this branch over from where master currently is, right? So if I do a git pull, oh my gosh, okay. So I can reset this branch. Is that how that works? Ooh. Okay, so now it's been reset. Oh my god. Okay. I suppose it doesn't matter what the git history looks like, so whatever. Let's add this patch. No, it says Previously applied patch detected, assume revert. No. Wait, I'm confused. I want to do a hard. Okay. Wait, let me try resetting it to here, right? Is that what I want to do? Okay, they changed it to that naming. Okay. Get clean, will not revert local changes to track. Yeah, I want to, let's see. Okay. And then if I reset this to okay. And then what happens if I apply this? Okay. If I apply this, sweet. Yeah, I probably do want to rebase. However, truthfully, well, I don't know. So if I reset it to here, right? Okay, yeah. So I have to, I know it's going to be a force push, but I don't know. Let's find out. If this goes badly, at least we only use PRs for review, so we're not going to merge it. Okay. Resync. Yeah. Well, that's right, because I have to push this to my remote, so this is going to be super fun. Okay, so I'm resyncing these track patches. And then I had to push this to my remote. Yes, this is essentially time traveling. Let's see what happens. How much trouble have I created? Oh, it looks fine. Shockingly, it looks okay. Right? Because, like, let me check this patch. Right, so like when we're in functions, it adds, deletes, does this stuff. I wish that, well, the thing I don't like about this is, because I've basically like blown it away. Ideally, we would be able to see the differences between those track patches. He says it's just, I guess that would be a rebase. He says it's just the coding standard stuff. Yeah, just PHP CS fixes. That's what he says. I don't know. I've blown this away. So I have to come up with something better. But whatever, this is running now. Let's see how the checks are doing. PHP compatibility passed, and then I'm waiting for PHP coding standards. No. More stuff not aligned correctly. Okay. So let's see. Where is that in here? Expected. Yeah, it's tabbed over one too many. Get it. Lock. Your size. Cache for site. Every patch they submit is diff from default branch every time rather than diff from last diff. Correct. We do not use stacked diffs. I think is the what Fabricator calls them. We don't use Fabricator, but yeah, we don't use stacked diffs. So yeah, historically it has been hard to track what has changed between patches if you use patch files. So yes, I have diffed diffs in the past, and it is fine. It's just, it doesn't lend itself very well to code review. So yeah, super fun. This is, I think, ideally we would move to GitHub at some point. I think what we're working on right now is moving everybody gradually over to using pull requests at least, so we get that tooling, the developer tooling correct. What is really hard about, actually, let me commit this real quick. Yeah, so what's really hard with talking about moving to GitHub as like our primary tracker is that it's actually missing a lot of features that we really have come to rely on, I guess, for project management. That's not to say that it is deficient necessarily, so much as just like our processes over time have, evolved to be, using the tools that we use. So that's using Track. And so Track does some things extremely well. For all the things that suck about Track, what Track does well is, here are the things that I like about Track. Maybe I'll clip this out and so people can hear me talk about in one place things that I like about Track. What I really like about Track on the individual issue view is that you have discrete fields for certain items, whereas in GitHub these are all just labels, right? And so you just have like a mishmash of labels, and people use different methods of like prefixing and that sort of thing to indicate what they're like related to. Two types of tools: ones that people complain about, ones no one uses. True. But everybody uses GitHub and somehow don't seem to have nearly as many complaints. But what's really nice here is we have like, so milestone GitHub does have now, but we have stuff like components is a distinct field. We have focuses, which have keywords. These are like tags essentially. Same with keywords. These are to indicate like what process pieces it needs. The version is the earliest version in which it can be reproduced if it's a bug. We have our priority versus severity. So priority is our processing priority within the project, like how important is it to get to this. Severity is like how badly does it affect somebody, right? So like the severity of something can be really high, or it's like really messing something up, but the priority can be low because it's something super edge casey and something that maybe they shouldn't actually be doing. But we want to make sure that, we acknowledge, yes, this is broken and when you're doing this thing. But it's low priority for us to fix because you're doing something that's like super weird. So I really like those things about Track. And then the other thing that's really nice about a patch-based workflow is that anybody can pick up a patch at any time, right? The problem with pull requests is that they're inherently tied to the author of the pull request. And so if you want somebody to collaborate on a pull request with you, you have to give them push access. And you have to grant it. Like you don't even get the ease of like somebody can request access to it and then you can grant that, right? Like you have to, it puts the burden on you as a PR author to like go into your settings and give them push access and maybe just to that branch or whatever. Whereas like, it feels like maybe they could, I don't know, maybe I should suggest this, but like maybe they could add a feature that's like kind of like a Google Docs model, where you can like request access to that branch so that, you know, if somebody's like no longer working on a pull request, and they're just kind of like dead in the water with it, then you could pick it up from them, right? So yeah, you can suggest changes. However, sometimes you have like huge feature builds, right? And you don't necessarily want to like lose, you know, like start all over with a whole new pull request and lose all of the pull request history. That's the other thing, right? Is like, where do your comments go? Do your comments go on the pull request or do they go on the issue? Because one thing that I'm really strict about is you have to have an issue that goes with your pull request, because a pull request is a solution, but you have to have a problem definition, right? And a problem definition, in creating that definition and in discussing that problem definition, you may come up with something totally different that you want to do. So I require issues to be created in parallel with any pull requests. All pull requests have to be associated with an issue. And this is true in WordPress as well, right? If you have a pull request, it has to have a track ticket to go with. So the track ticket or the issue is your problem definition. From there, you may spawn multiple solution paths. You may end up committing multiple solutions, right? Gutenberg mitigates this by liberally giving push access. Yeah, we could. I mean, there are lots of different things, right? So like with Git, and with GitHub as like our central repo provider, we could take advantage of certain things like permissioning to kind of recreate that flow, right? Where like we just liberally give access. However, managing that access still really sucks. You still have to go in and manually add people all the time, right? And so like, are we going to end up with like a 5,000 person organization and we're just hoping that, you know, all those 5,000 people can be trusted from now into forever? Because like, are we really going to go back through and, you know, remove people's push access later? Maybe we would, you know, like maybe we could automate that, and like maybe the GitHub API supports the ability for us to like come up with something where you remove somebody's push access once they've been inactive for like a year or something, you know. But anyway, there are lots of things there that are like kind of wonky, right? It's like you can't really collaborate on a pull request super easily. You have to like either, you know, do that stuff with, you can make suggestions and then they can commit it. However, I don't think committing suggestions actually gives them commit credit. I don't think that it, I don't remember if it does the like co-authored by footer thing. So I don't know if it gives them commit credit. Yes, adopt this PR. Yes. I think that should be a thing, or the request access thing. So you can request to be on a PR, because you might still want to collaborate on it as well, right? So yeah, there's lots of things that I think are actually, they're very individualistic. And then, you know, you can adopt a PR, right? So like you could check out that person's repository and get that branch, and then push it up to your own remote so you retain their commits, which is only really helpful in like if you're using Git commit history, like Git commit authors to mean anything. We do props manually in WordPress. We type out a list of everybody that you are giving credit to on your commit. And one of the biggest reasons why we do this, oh yeah, go ahead and suggest away. I'll read it in a minute. But one of the things we do in WordPress is we give props very liberally, and they don't necessarily have anything to do with code. So there was something the other day I committed. There's like a very small CSS change, but I gave props to like 20 people because it was like, you know, the person who created the ticket, somebody who found an edge case bug in one of the original patches, somebody who took the time and made like a screencast and a bunch of annotated screenshots showing before and after. All of those people deserve credit for helping move the project forward, right? That's a huge thing to me. It's like if you write a really detailed bug report, if you write reproduction steps for a bug, if you provide test cases, if you provide UI, if you provide copy, lots of those things don't end up involving code patches. Some of these people don't know how to make a patch, and that's okay. They still have very valuable contributions. And so we still do manual props, and those are what's parsed out for software credits, because you have to give credit to anybody who helps moving forward. Thanks for following. So I don't know. I don't know how we would accomplish that. I mean, we would continue to give manual props, but people do want that GitHub credit, right? Like your little green graph or whatever. Like mine sucks because I don't care. But like you want that green graph or whatever. And so they have that co-authored by tag, right? So you can have multiple authors on a commit, but it's manual. It's a huge pain to do. And so it's like, what I would love is if GitHub, like maybe we could automate this, for the time being, but wouldn't it be nice if GitHub made it so you could give if you could do those co-authored by tags, except only use like an @ mention, with a username, because what you have to do is you have to put their full name and then their email address in the angle brackets, the way that any other like Git authorship header is. And it's super annoying because they made it like Git standard, but it's like, I don't know. Why can't we commit it that like with just the @ with their usernames, and then GitHub does its own magic to turn that into co-authored by tags like on our behalf, So they could make collaboration a lot better. Sounds really weird to say because GitHub's whole thing is like enabling collaboration. However, my opinion is that GitHub only really enables collaboration at the individual to group level and not group to group. So yeah, I have a lot of opinions. Let me open this. Git checkout master. Then we apply the patch. We stash it. Check it out, stash pop. Okay. I think that makes sense. Because then Git will be smart about applying what's in its stash, right? Instead of relying on system level diff. Okay. If a PI reference is an issue, people who created the issue, edited it, should get called out in the merge. Yeah. Yes, I do use stash sometimes. I just like, when you apply a diff, it uses system diff. Like it doesn't use or applying. So yeah. I don't even remember how to apply a patch manually anymore. I'm like thinking about it. But when you apply a diff file, I think it's system level. So I don't know if like Git would be smarter about it, but Subversion's pretty stupid about that stuff. That's something that sucks about Subversion. Git is so much smarter about merges and tracking changes between merges and addressing conflict and that kind of stuff. It's much smarter than Subversion. But Subversion still has nice things. You know what I love about Subversion is sequential revision numbers. Doesn't work in the way that Git is structured, obviously, but with Subversion, because it's just one central repo, one central source of truth, you have sequential revision numbers, and they're really nice. Git apply patch file. I wonder if I should just try that, but we'll see. Anyway, did this finish running? Conversation. I guess it's under checks. Still failed. Frick. Double array arrow. What? Why? It says these are not aligned correctly. So expected 3 spaces between and the double arrow, but it found 16. But that's right. I'm no longer understanding what its issue here is. So it doesn't want me to align it? So it's yelling at me because these are aligned, but it doesn't want them to be aligned? Mercurial try to keep that revision number thing with branches? No. Bad. Yeah, I've had PHP-CS give me some really weird things with alignment, stuff like this. And I wonder if it's also unhappy because of like the double quotes and it's like parsing it weird. The problem is like, of course, like this is just a warning. It's saying it expected 1 space. Oh, it's somehow ignoring this one. You see? It's wanting me to align all of these, but not this one. Because it's saying like this one it's expecting 1 space, 1 space, 3 space. So if I did that, this would be 1 space, 1 space, 3 space. Okay. 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3. 1, 1, 1, 3. So yeah, then these would be aligned and then this one wouldn't. Only key is alignment off the first line. The first thing that it yelled at me about was the level of indentation, and that was indeed incorrect. It was indented 1 too far over. But here now it's yelling at me. It is just a warning. It's not a big deal. But this is what it's recommending. 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 3. And then nothing on this one. But what it's supposed to do is all the arrows are supposed to align here. So I don't know like why it's mad at me about that. But it's just a warning. So I'm going to not worry about that. Max space count in the config. Oh, I don't know. Timothy, do you know if we have a max space count? I thought it was like pretty aggressive about making us align everything. I hate this type of alignment. Don't tell anybody. I really hate this type of alignment. It is a pain in the ass to maintain. And you get a lot of like cruft in diffs because of it. I mean, you can ignore white space, I guess, but I think it's annoying. You just skipped all. Frick. Wait, but it says it's failing. Is it failing just because of the warnings? Oh, we specifically check test suite files for warnings. So if I just change this, okay, let's just do it. Let's see if it passes this time. Because it's not done on Travis, right? Here's what sucks about Travis. Coding standards. PHP coding standards. Wait, no. Travis, PHP linting. You see this? So this is all Travis gives me. Travis just says, God, I can't even read it. 7 sniff violations were found, and it just gives me like the name of it. very helpful, Travis. I don't know what the frick that means, right? So like no line numbers, no nothing. It's just like warning. So well, at least I know Travis is reporting the same thing. Git commit. Array alignment oddities. There's somebody in my house again. The same friend from earlier. Now I can see his car. There's a lot of people in my house. Is this it? Max padding 40. Max column 60. Column 63. Is that what it is then? It's just because it hits the 60. And so it only wants to align that far and it doesn't want to go that far out. I feel like that's kind of weird. Like, I like it. I think this is somewhat better, but it's still just like, it's very arbitrary. Max padding 40 makes sense, but max column 60. So it just like, is like, okay, this is outside of the, like wildly outside of 60, so screw it. Okay, sure, whatever. Now let's see. Coding standards. I just don't want to break the build because of coding standards. Okay. Yeah, it feels like that shouldn't trigger a full-on error. I don't know. It's super weird. You see? This is like overriding the values of core zone coding standards in core. I don't know. It's very strange. All right. Well, anyway, PHP has finally ran clean. Oops, wrong tab. And then I don't know. Hopefully, the rest will pass at some point. I'll probably just commit it though. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just checking this naming. Okay, well, if I commit this now, this build passed. So I guess I'm gonna, okay, let's just commit this. SVN diff. I'm looking at my SVN diff now. It's diffing against my subversion. This looks right to me. Yeah. If you want to know what it is, here's what takes for frickin' ever. PHPCS is okay. Oh, here. Yeah, you can see. Let's just look at stuff that's on faster. So here's why. Okay, so we do PHP 8 compatibility checking. It's 1 minute, a little over a minute. PHP coding standards, just under 2 minutes. JavaScript tests, 3 minutes. End-to-end tests is not full end-to-end tests, it's just in one specific place. So this one specific set of end-to-end test coverage things, 4 minutes. Testing NPM on Windows, 6.5 minutes. And then PHP unit tests, 21 minutes. So what we can do is we can go in here. We set up WordPress once to be reused across these tests. So it was 3 minutes. PHP 8 took 8 minutes-ish. 7.4, 7.5 minutes. 7.37 minutes. Why is it getting slower? That seems weird. 7.2, 7.5 minutes. 7.1, 8 minutes. 7, 8 minutes. Yeah, these are all taking about 8 minutes, right? 7.4 with Memcache, also a little, Memcache D, sorry, a little over 8 minutes. 5.6, 18 minutes. That's our problem, is we still technically have PHP 5.6 as our minimum, and we run our unit tests. They're not really units, but we run our PHP unit tests on PHP 5.6, and it takes 18 minutes. If it were not for this, it would be done in about 10 minutes total, but it is what it is. Okay, SVN stats, so I have to SVN add I'm gonna remove PHP 5.6 support just so the tests run faster. Can you imagine? Why do I have an exclamation point next to tests export? Okay, so SVN diff, now I have this whole new test file. Oh. Plus native. Is that what it's supposed to do? I don't know. Hopefully that's the case. Okay, so I have like 3 file.php, functions.php. Oh, I can see that here, right? Post.php, and then this new file. I'm gonna commit it. I'm a little bit nervous about it just because like it's kind of wild, but the whole process. But let's do it. So do an SVN commit from here. So I'm gonna go back. Multi-sites. Better. Well. Cache. No. Yeah. Avoid. On order upload directories. Right? I guess this is explaining what, and I want to say like what the outcome is. So I guess it should be just better, more specific caching or Git. Okay. Instead of one cache entry for all upload folders for site on multi-site, this now caches for each folder. In multi-site, this should speed up your size calls. So it's order directories that are much less likely to change will no longer have the size we calculated. So I want to give props to Kurt. I haven't seen that name, so look how old this is. Opened 9 years ago. God. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna give props to, first and foremost, I don't know, Jan Thiel. And then I'm gonna copy paste this username. This patch looks very similar, so more props for them. To the reporter, because they proposed the solution. Most people commenting here are maintainers, so it's their job to be doing this. Okay, so this person did a great job, and then hopefully they will notice. Okay, so I think that's good enough for the time being. That's enough props. I'm not giving myself props for fixes. I'm just saying that this should be fixes. Multi-site should speed up calls. That's older directories. Okay. Validate stack cache. Okay. Let's do it. Let's see how bad it is. If Subversion rejects this, it means that I did something bad. Okay, Subversion did not reject it, so I think I'm okay. Okay, so then what I need to do is I'm copying this link, and then I'm gonna leave this open for the moment. Okay, so I'm gonna say merged in R 4922 and then put. Well, I guess I could just link the git hash. Right, so we don't need to know the Subversion one. Okay, cool. So that's my process now, mixing Git and Subversion. And I'm still figuring everything out. And one of the things that I will probably eventually do is write up all the, things that we need to do as committers if we want to do it this weird way for the time being. But eventually, it would be nice if we were in GitHub. Like I said, there's some things that are really nice about track tickets individually. And the other thing that's really nice is you have reports. And so this could maybe be recreated as specific queries in GitHub. But some of these are like pretty funky. And I would struggle without them. So here's one report. This is all tickets awaiting review. However, it's broken up into sections. So like if I jump ahead, it's like defects awaiting review. But what it has is this one section at the top, and honestly, I should probably break this out into its own report so you don't have to know to look in 40. What this does is it shows any defects, which are bugs, right? Not enhancements, not feature requests, not tasks, any bugs, because we have discrete ticket types. So any bugs that are still awaiting review that were reported specifically against trunk, which means that the version that they're saying this affects is not an older version. It is only something that is broken in current trunk. And currently, because we're heading toward beta, it's not a big deal. But when we're approaching the release candidate stage, we have to make sure that there are no bugs reported against trunk. And so what we have to do is, I do this basically daily once we get into late beta. We roll through these tickets and we get people reproducing them and saying like, okay, yeah, this is something that's new in trunk. And, Git bisecting, I guess, would help with this quite a bit. But yes, this is something that affects trunk, or no, it's not. And so then we change the version to be like, the oldest version that we can find, or if we're running short on time, we just set it back to like the previous major version. But we have to know, like, is this something that truly we broke in development? Because if it is, we have to fix it, right? We have to fix anything that we've newly broken in development. So we have to always make sure that this part is clean. And so I don't know, like, how do you reproduce that in GitHub, right? You're requiring people to label things extremely precisely, which is, going to be prone to yet another level of human error, right? And then you don't get this like cool view. Like, I don't get this kind of table view. I'd have to build a third-party tool because I have these different discrete fields that I can show, right? Whereas in GitHub, if I look at issues, right? Like, let me pick a label. If I type bug, do they have like version labels? I don't even know. And the other thing is, like, you have to scroll through everything to know, like, yeah, and you can't even assign like when was this first observed. And so you have to like visually parse through these things because they're not aligned. And so it's really hard for me to be like, what do these apply to? I have to scan through every single label on every single one. And then not only that, like in this report, what I could do is I could group it by component. That's something that I can do. Yeah, it is annoying. However, like I somewhat understand why, because they're, I don't know, their own thing. But I don't know if they're ever going to add this. And so that's something where it's like, if it were known to be on like GitHub's product roadmap, then that would be one thing. But as far as I know, they have no plans to do any sort of like advanced reporting on issues. And so it's kind of like, I don't know that I would want to switch to GitHub for actual issue management. It seems horrible. Like, how do I get this sort of information out of GitHub? I don't know. Like, maybe I can't. So anyway, that's what's on my mind, is like, when we talk about like maybe we should switch to GitHub, it's like, but people who talk about that have never managed 6,000 open issues in GitHub, and each of those issues then needs to have its own pull request, and it's like, you've never had to deal with this, so I don't know. And the other thing is, like, I think GitHub's tooling, which is their prerogative, right? They're their own product company and they can set their own priorities. Their focus is providing developer tooling for developer tools, right? Again, WordPress is not a developer tool. And so the way that we run release cycles, the way that we evaluate things, the information that we need is not the same as the information that you're going to get for reporting things against a developer tool. So I am still not convinced that it is the correct place for problem definitions and management of what we're working on. I do think it is a wonderful tool for code review, test running, that sort of stuff. And so I think that I'm very happy to continue to move us toward this like PR-based workflow for code review. But I'm actually like still not totally convinced that moving issues there is the correct move for us. So we'll see what happens. But in any case, I'm starving. I ended up skipping lunch and I've been on for like 4 hours. I will be back working. I may or may not stream it. I'm not sure, but I'll be back working later tonight. So thanks for joining me. This was a lot of fun, and thanks for the raid. It's cool to hear from people with a totally different perspective, because like WordPress is so large that it's very easy to, you know, it's not a bubble, but it's really easy to only ever hear from other WordPress people because there are just so many of them. So it's like just to listen to people within WordPress itself is already a lot of work. So thanks everybody. See you next time. Probably at the latest it'll be tomorrow for beta 1. So we'll see you then. Bye.